This story involves a Vietnam vet, an amputation, and an ice cream cake. It's one of my favourite stories. I do hope I don't offend anybody. Welcome back to Talking with Jazz with your host, BigDaddy0. I do really love this story. I went to an underprivileged school. It was a strange thing that my parents did, but that was what we did. It was the local school. Maybe they were lazy like me and just sent their kids to the closest school. So, there we were. Now, because it was the 1970s, and I think that there was a thing where there were quite a few Vietnam veterans, okay? And in fact, I came in contact with Vietnam veterans as teachers throughout my time at school. So in primary school and in high school. This story is from primary school. I've got a couple of ones from high school as well. Maybe I'll share them later on. Not today though. We had a Vietnam vet come to school. Now, he was not a teacher per se, but he might have been, I don't know. But he wasn't like taking class. He was taking the smart kids out of the class. Now, I was not one of the smart kids, but I did want to be one of the smart kids. I was one of the funny kids which never learnt to read at school. Whenever the nurse came to my school to inspect the kids, I would always be called out to the front, with the other kid who had one eye and the other kid who only had half a kind of whatever, all the freaky kids, I guess. There weren't that many, but, I was one of them. So, and they pulled me out to see if I had some kind of health problem, and the nurse would, see if I could hear, see if I could see. Why can't this kid read? There must be something medically wrong with him. I used to freak them out. Not deliberately, but I soon worked out that it would freak them out if I kept saying it. Because they would do an inspection over your entire body. And, not with your clothes on and everything, Maybe just you got your shorts, your undies on, right? And your singlet. And they would sort of just, check if everything's in the right place and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't some pervy thing. Just a normal thing. And I had a lump on the back of my knee, which is kind of strange because it's, the back of your knee is the back of your leg. Anyway, I had quite a large lump there. And my father was a doctor and he said, "It's a Baker's cyst. Don't worry about it." And so when the nurse found this thing, what, has it got something to do with me not being able to read? Anyway, I would say, "Oh yes, it's a Baker's cyst. Nothing to worry about." And they would kind of, "Oh God, what do we do? I don't know what a Baker's cyst is. Maybe this is where his brain is and this is why he can't read, whatever." Anyway, back into the meat and potatoes of the story, the real story. So there was two groups that were taken out of class, the kind of me and the other guys that had problems, and the bright kids. And we had this one guy come, this Vietnam vet. I mentioned that before, but you might have forgotten. And he came to class and the teacher would recommend people. Smart kid 1, smart kid 2, smart girl 1, smart boy 1, whatever. It never included me. Now the thing about this teacher, what he was doing was taking the kids out of class to do a bit of extra maths, to push their brains, so because they had such big brains. So of course they were going to give the kids that were really smart the extra. Doesn't make any sense. It's like giving the fat kids more food. I don't know. But anyway, they did that. Extension type thing. And a lot of my friends were in that extension group. But the thing about this guy is that we knew that he was a Vietnam vet. And we knew one more thing too. It was very obvious. He only had one arm. And I was like, oh my God, what did he do? Pick up a mine? Or did the Viet Cong chop it off with a machete? My mind ran wild. So anyway, one day I saw this teacher, Vietnam vet guy, in the hallway. And it probably was rude, but, I said to him first, I would like to come in your advanced class for maths, please, kind of thing. Because all my friends went in, And what happened to your arm? And he said, ice cream cake. I didn't understand. I didn't ask any more questions. He just proceeded to tell me he was cutting an ice cream cake and the knife slipped and it severed the artery in his arm. And he was a long way from civilization, I think in the regional Victoria or something like that. You used to be able to get these ice cream cakes that were stored with dry ice. So that's a really important part of the story. And the ice cream, because of the dry ice, actually got much harder than it would normally get in a freezer. And we actually got these ice cream cakes occasionally. They were in the shape of Puss in Boots or a football or something, I don't know. Anyway, so literally he lost his arm because he sliced through the cake and cut his arm. They cut an artery in his arm, and there was nothing they could do to save it, even though, and this is the sort of the clincher in the story, they used the box with the dry ice to store his arm. No, that's not true. I made that up. That'd be funny though, wouldn't it? No, it didn't. It just severed an artery. And there was nothing they could do because he was too far from any medical help. And they just put a tourniquet around his arm, and unfortunately he had to get it amputated. Why don't you have a great day? I hope you enjoyed that story, or at least you learned something. Why don't you subscribe? I make one of these for every day, and you might miss something if you don't subscribe. Something important, because I'm randomly going through things in my mind as they come up. This is my memory. Maybe it's not important, but subscribing will mean you don't miss the notifications, etc. Have a great day.